But DeSantis, he would never use a deadly storm to pursue a political agenda, right? And no responsible Florida elected official would ignore key issues like climate change, which science has proved is contributing directly to making superstorms like Ian stronger, would they? Well, the New York Times writes about Ian that the storm grew in intensity because it passed over ocean water that was 2 to 3 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year, NASA data show. Its destructive power was made worse by rising seas. The water off the southwest coast of Florida has risen more than 7 inches since 1965, according to data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Finally, warmer air resulting from climate change increased the amount of rain that Ian dropped on Florida by at least 10%, or about 2 extra inches in some places, according to a study released last week. Scientists call Florida one of the most susceptible states to global warming. And yet, DeSantis and other Republicans have opposed the very efforts that would mitigate disasters like Ian. More from the New York Times. Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott voted against last year's bipartisan infrastructure law, which devotes some $50 billion to help states better prepare for events like Ian, because they said it was wasteful. And in August, they joined every fellow Republican in the Senate to oppose a new climate law that invests $369 billion in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. At the same time, DeSantis has blocked the state's pension fund from taking climate change into account when making investment decisions, saying that politics should be absent from financial calculations. There's also the fact that when Senator Rick Scott was governor in 2015, officials at the Florida Department of Environmental Protection reportedly weren't allowed to even use the terms climate change or global warming in any official communications. And even if you put all that aside, it is ironic that DeSantis would point fingers at the media, talking about a political agenda, when last week, as the Miami Herald points out, when it became clear that Hurricane Ian was headed to Florida, he advised people in low-lying areas to evacuate. But then he couched the advice with politics. He emphasized that Floridians had the freedom not to evacuate, echoing his culture wars and the Keep Florida Free campaign signs people have on their lawns. He would not, he said, mandate anything in the free state of Florida. God knows how many lives that may have cost. Congresswoman Val Demings will join me in a moment. But first, let's bring in former governor and former Congressman Charlie Crist, the Democratic nominee for Florida governor. And Governor Crist, I am glad that you are available to be here tonight because, a governor's job in a state like Florida that is so vulnerable to storms, you would think that a governor would want to mitigate the harm from those storms. But the 2 previous Republican governors, Rick Scott and DeSantis, have seemed to do the opposite. Your thoughts?
Well, I couldn't agree more, and it's unfortunate because we're paying the price for that. Climate change is real. It is a present danger to us. It exacerbated what happened with Hurricane Ian. And, as governor before, I held the first climate change summit in the history of Florida, along with Governor Schwarzenegger, because I knew at the time that this was a real situation, something we had to face and something we had to realize was going to create bigger storms. I mean, this hurricane that we just had was 3 times bigger than Hurricane Charlie. Charlie was just as powerful, about 150, 155 mile per hour winds, but Ian was 3 times larger. Because, as you stated in the opening, the warmth of the Gulf of Mexico is adding to the fuel to the fire of these storms and the impact it's having on real people and, regrettably, most regrettably, the deaths that we've experienced in Florida.
And, you mentioned Governor Schwarzenegger, who was governor of California when you were governor previously in Florida. The 2 of you also shared in common getting excoriated by your then party for accepting stimulus money from President Obama, who is, persona non grata. No one's even supposed to talk to him or in any way go near him. But the idea is Florida now must take federal money. Right? Because Florida is so vulnerable, it's inevitable that every Florida governor is going to have to, at some point, ask the federal government for a lot of money, and it looks like it's going to get worse. What do you make of DeSantis, who is a Tea Partier and who voted against giving money to Hurricane Sandy, now having to play nice with President Biden because he needs the money? And don't you think he'll need it again?
No question. And it's ironic. I mean, as you pointed out, Governor DeSantis voted against helping when Hurricane Sandy came to the northeastern part of the United States. But now when it's on us, He's in the awkward ideological position that doesn't jive with his ideology to have to ask for federal money. Listen, I'm glad he's doing it because Florida does need it. There's no question about it. But, you know, it sure would be nice to be kind of consistent about what you believe versus what you think is an emergency situation, and so you have to change what's happening. He just seems to be inconsistent on so many things. You know, he talks about freedom, for example, yet he wants to attack a woman's right to choose. I mean, it's inconsistent all the way.
It's obvious that Governor DeSantis is hoping to win re-election by sizable enough margins so he can run for president. I think that's obvious to everyone. He's raising a lot of money. He has been doing a lot of politicking while he's out there, including forcing some relief workers to stop working so that he could do this photo op in those weird boots. But let me play what some people who live in the affected area. This is Fort Myers. Our reporter Kerry Sanders was out there, and this is what he heard.
Do you feel ignored here?
Yes, very much.
No Red Cross, no FEMA, no nothing.
They work just as hard. It's going to be cry. They work just as hard as the people on the beach did, and they're not getting the attention here because it's not the beach. It's not a seaside home.
Because we are Latino, Black, poor people, working people, that's the way it is.
We've seen other reports like that of people who don't live in the Sanibel area, the more affluent areas, feeling like no one is coming out to help them. You know, what do you think should be done as if you were governor to make sure that the help is spreading and that people are getting what they need? And are you concerned that there's not enough help going to inland areas?
Of course, of course. I mean, yesterday I was in Fort Myers and I was in a neighborhood called Harlem Heights. It is mostly African American. It's mostly Latino. They said nobody had been there. No cameras had seen what happened to them. And it was devastating, Joyanne. And, you know, to be there and at least be able to shine a light on it for some period of time, I think is extremely important. I did that yesterday and not even governor yet. You know, I look forward to the time when I can be the governor of Florida, help those people, help all Floridians. Go to charliechrist.com and give us a hand, and we'll get this job done in 34 days. We'll have new leadership in the Sunshine State.